Pope pretending to still be part of the Roman Empire. Then the Franks broke their kingdom into what will later be called France and not France. The Northerners, or just Norse if you don't have much time, are exploring. They go north, from the north to the northern north, and they find some land, 2 types of land, and they name them accordingly. They also invade some other places and get called many names, such as Vikings. There's the Rus, the Kievan Rus. Are they Vikings? I don't think so, said the Kievan Rus. Okay, fair enough. The Pope is ready to make some more emperors of the Roman Empire, the Holy Roman Empire. It's actually Germany, but don't worry about it. New kingdoms.
Christianize all the kingdoms.
Which brand would you like? Mine's better, mine's better, mine's better. Time to conquer England, said William. It's a bird, it's a plane. It's the Seljuk Turks, said the Byzantine Empire, who's getting so small it almost doesn't exist anymore. We need help. They need help, so they call the Pope. Hey Pope, can you help us get rid of the Seljuks? Maybe take back the Holy Land on the way? Come on, I know you want to take back the Holy Land. Yes, I do actually want to do that. Let's do a crusade. Crusade! They did many crusades, some of which almost didn't fail, but at least the Italians got some sweet trade deals. Goodbye, Mayans.
Alabama. Boy, we're starting out strong here, aren't we? I'm gonna go.
Look at those mounds. There's the Pueblo. I always wondered how to build a town in a cliff. Guess who's here? Come here. Where? Here. And Pagan is there. Vietnam unconquered itself, Korea just became itself, and Japan is so addicted to art that the military might have to take over the government. China just invented bombs and typing. And the Mongols just invaded most of the universe. Nice going, Genghis. I bet that will last a long time. Some of the Islamic Turks were unaffected by the Mongol invasions because they were busy invading India. Is it Tonga time? I think it's Tonga time. I just found out where the Swahili gets all their gold. Look at this Chad. Means lake. There's an empire there, right in the middle of Africa. The king of Mali is so rich he's going on tour to let everyone know. Wow, that guy's rich, everyone said. The Christians are doing a great job reconquering Iberia, which will soon be called Spain and not Spain. Please remain Christian. We will check in later to see if you're still Christian when you least expect. Whoops, half of Europe just died. China's back, yay! Hey, come here, time to share. New kingdoms here and there. Oh, look who controls all the islands. It's the Mahajapit, Majapahit, Mapajahit, Mahapajit, Mapajahit, Majapahit. Oh, Italy's really rich. Time for them to care a lot about art and the ancient classics. It's kind of like a rebirth. Here's a printer, let's make books. So you think you can conquer the Byzantine Empire? Yep, said the Ottoman Turks. Nice job, Ottoman Turks. Oops, you missed a spot. Don't forget to ban Europe from the Indian spice trade. What? That's bullshit, said Portugal, spiceless. Well, I guess we'll have to find another way to India. Wait, said Christopher Columbus, probably smoking crack. If the world is round, let's go this way to India. No, don't worry, we already got this, said Portugal. So Chris goes to Spain. Hey, Spain, want to hire me to find India by going around back of the world? No, please, no, please, no, please. Okay. So he sails into the ocean and discovers more ocean, and then discovers the Indies and Japan. Let's draw a line to decide who gets which half of the world. The Aztec and Inca empires are off to a great start. I wonder if they know that Europe just discovered their continent. The Habsburgs are marrying into so many royal families they might have to start marrying each other. Move over, Lithuania. Here comes Moscow. Ivan wants to make Russia great again. Move over, Timurids. Maybe go invade India or something. Persia just made Persia Persian again. Let's make it the other kind of Islam. The one where we thought the first guy should have been the other guy. Hey Christians, do you sin? Now you can buy your way out of hell. That's bullshit. This whole thing is bullshit. That's a scam. Fuck the church. Here's 95 Reasons Why, said Martin Luther in his new book, which might have accidentally started the Protestant Reformation. You know what would be magnificent, said Suleiman wearing an onion hat? What if the Ottoman Empire was really big, which it is now? What if Russia was big, said Ivan, trying not to be terrible. Portugal had a dream that they controlled the entire Indian Ocean, including the spice trade. And then that dream was real. And Spain realized that this is not India, but they pillaged it anyway. Damn, said England and France. We gotta start pillaging some stuff. Then the Dutch revolt and all the hipsters moved to Amsterdam. Damn, said Amsterdam. We gotta start pillaging some stuff. Question 1, can you get to India through North America? No, but at least there's beaver. Question 2, steal the spice trade. That's not a question, but the Dutch did it anyway. Sugar. Guess where all the sugar's made? In Brazil. Stolen. In the Caribbean. And it's so goddamn profitable you might forget to not do slavery. The next thing on Russia's to-do list is to get bigger. Britain and France are having a friendly discussion about who should control the entire world, more specifically, Ohio. Then it escalates into a 7-year discussion, giving Prussia a chance to show Austria who's boss. But what about Britain and France? Did they figure out who's boss? Yes, they did. It's Britain. Guess who's broke? Also Britain. So they start taxing the hell out of America. Fuck you, says America, declaring their independence and fighting for it. And France helps them win. Now France is broke. And Britain will have to send their prisoners to a different continent. Wait, if France is broke, why do the king and queen still wear such fancy dresses? Let's overthrow the palace and cut all their heads off, said Robespierre, cutting everybody's head off until someone eventually got mad and cut his head off. You could make a No, don't. Haiti is starting to like the idea of a revolution, especially the slaves, who free themselves by killing their masters. Why didn't we think of this before? Wait, who's in charge of France now? Said Napoleon, trying to take over Europe. Luckily, they banished him to an island. But he came back! Luckily, they banished him to another island. There goes Latin America, becoming independent in the Latin American Wars of Independence. Britain just figured out how to turn steam into power, so now they can make many different types of machines and factories with machines in them, so they can make a lot of products real fast. Then they invent some trains and conquer India and maybe put some trains there. Hey, China, said Britain, buy stuff from us. Nah, dude, we already got everything, says China. So Britain tried to get them addicted to opium, which worked actually. But then China made it illegal and dumped it all into the sea. So Britain threw a hissy fit and made them open up 5 cities and give them an island. Britain and Russia are playing a game where they try to stop each other from conquering Afghanistan. Also, the Sultan of Oman lives in Zanzibar now. That's just where he lives. India just had a revolution, and they would like to govern themselves now. Nope, said Britain, governing them even harder than before. Technology is about to go crazy. The United States finally figured out whether slavery is good or bad. It's bad, they decided. And then they continued manifesting their destiny, which is to kill the rest of the natives and take their land and maybe kick out the Mexicans too. I know, let's rape Africa, said Europe, scrambling to see who could rape it the fastest. They never got Ethiopia. Britain and France are still hungry. They never got Thailand. The United States ran out of destiny to manifest, so they're looking for more. Hawaii, Cuba. Wait, Spain controls Cuba. Well, blame something on them and go to war. What should we blame on Spain? Let's blame the Maine on Spain. So they blame the Maine on Spain. Now we're in business.
Alabama. Boy, we're starting out strong here, aren't we? I'm gonna go ahead and lay down a blanket statement here. If your flag is most likely inspired by the Confederate flag, you're already getting a failing grade, because I'm not a fan of losers who can't let an embarrassing defeat go. And even without that qualifier, Alabama's gonna get a real big see me after class written on this half-assed homework assignment, because it's pretty evident the violently alcoholic stepdad Alabama has to deal with at home is what caused them to turn in this unfortunately unfinished piece of shit. And knowing enough about Alabama itself, I'll bet the lack of effort was intentional, and they're proud of it for some reason. Alaska. Alaska is so smart, they think a celestial body 323 light years away from Earth represents them. It doesn't even make sense from a perspective debate, since the majority of America can see this thing at all times. This flag was originally designed by a 14-year-old Native Alaskan orphan in 1927, and now I'm even more convinced children are dumb as fuck. The flag is definitely good at making me think to never trust Alaska again. After all, if we remove most of the Dipper's bowl, shift the stars around, and change the colors a bit, well, would you look at what we fucking got here. Nice try, Xi Jinping, but if I said it once, I'll say it again. China cannot legally own the constellations, so stop trying. Arizona. The star in this flag looks like it either just proudly announced to the world that it's gay, or it's charging up a spirit bomb. The copper color of the star is supposed to represent that Arizona is the largest copper producer in all the United States, but to me it more accurately summarizes that the best the citizens of Arizona can ever hope for is 3rd place. Arkansas. Arkansas is already playing to the average intelligence level of its citizens by reminding them what state they live in by putting it blatantly right on the middle of the flag. The history of this flag speaks volumes. Here's the original flag from 1912, which was totally fine, albeit a bit too much of a secret celebration of baseball for my taste. But in less than a year, Arkansas immediately remembered that most people just assume Arkansas is someone misreading a typo of the word Kansas, so they desperately crammed their name in the middle here to help from being forgotten. 10 years later, they saw how awkward the design is, so they decided to make it even more awkward. But look, they added an extra star. How nice. That's the perfect starting point for them to royally fuck it all up even further just another year later. The rock-eating population of Little Rock probably took offense to this bold new use of colors that exude joy and excitement, so in 2011 they introduced a new act that reverted the flag back to its soul-crushing original colors. California. It's pretty good and iconic, I can't lie. Who knew a state that can't design a viable solution to its homeless problem, can't design a functioning highway system, and can't design a constructive argument for why growing almonds in a desert climate is a stupid fucking idea, could design a pretty good flag? To be fair, broken clocks are right twice a day, except California's, which in this case has only ever been right once. Colorado. This doesn't say state flag to me. This says logo for a public transportation company. Colorado's flag probably secretly belongs to a Denver bus line that recently had to apologize for achieving a national high score in accidental roadside fatalities. There's this weird feeling of genuine patriotism mixed with corporate sugarcoating on display here, which is a great parallel to the pseudo-heated opinions on important issues most Colorado people have. Whoa, I'm from Colorado, and let me tell you guys, this issue I'm talking about that's being brought up to the city council meeting is the most important and possibly detrimental thing we have ever seen to this state. We all need to go to the courthouse and make sure to show our support against that bill. Oh, what? That means I have to wake up before 10 a.m.? Never mind, fuck it. Connecticut. Qui transtulit sustinet is Latin for he who transplanted sustains, which is a terrible slogan, Connecticut, because while you think it's a triumphant way to say the original settlers who came here from England were able to flourish in your state, it also means anyone who successfully moves out of Connecticut will have an even better life after doing so. Beyond that, let's just say we're all thinking together. This flag is an ugly piece of shit. I love that the grapevine drawings here are supposed to have a symmetrical design, but you guys were too lazy to draw a third design, so you just copied this one and put it here, ruining the whole symmetry. That's a really good choice for if you want to save 5 or so minutes of work. You can at least take solace in the fact that no one's ever going to see this ugly fucking flag, since not even this could help anyone remember that Connecticut even exists. Delaware. Oh, god damn it. I just got done calling Connecticut's flag ugly, and I really hate repeating myself in the script, but what the fuck, dick loving Christ, this is clip art disaster. Look, Delaware knows their only claim to fame is being the first state to ratify the Constitution. They're going to slap that date on absolutely everything. So you don't happen to forget this trivia fact for the fucking 5 minutes you drive through Delaware. Also, bold move to put your main exports of cows, dildos, and muffins right here on the shield. But the old-timey ship at the top lets us know that you haven't done jack shit with your time since way back in the pilgrimage. Florida. Florida just doesn't know when to stop embarrassing itself, huh? Florida's such a lazy state infested with swamp-rotted brains that they copied Alabama's homework for this assignment and then slapped the wonky state seal over the middle hoping we wouldn't notice. It's actually under historical debate whether or not Florida's flag is a holdover from the Confederacy. Not to worry, we can still bull ride Florida and tear it apart for this god-awful state seal. It's of course garish to look at, but Florida recently updated the seal back in 1985 to make it align more with things people associate with Florida. Funnily enough, they kept the steamboat on there, implying that as recently as the 80s, Floridians were cruising around in the Everglades in their old-timey steamboats, which I would totally believe because this is Florida, where anything perplexingly stupid can happen. Georgia. Vexillology is the study of flags, and the North American Vexillological Association is pretty much what it sounds like. It's a club made of a bunch of red-blooded Americans fascinated with flags to the point of dedicating their free time to studying them. In 2001, this association ran an open poll asking North Americans to rank not only all 50 American state flags, but the flags of the U.S. territories and all Canadian provinces as well. This means there were a total of 72 flag choices to organize based on preference. Georgia's flag ranked dead last by a significant margin, because they didn't rate this one. They rated the one that was around back in 2001, which looked like this. Oh my fucking god. What in the unholy fuck is that? Why would you put not one, not two, but 5 separate flags inside your flag? Why the fuck does Georgia value Wisjustice Modern above all else? Not only is there a fully realized Confederate flag down there, but it's even part of a second flag. And speaking of which, is that the main flag design in the flag? The question isn't where to start on this monstrosity, it's where to end, because I very well probably could have filled this entire video with insults about this eye-watering piece of shit. But I need to call it Hawaii. This is Hawaii? Apparently it is. King Kamehameha I, after defeating King Piccolo, used to use the British flag as the official Hawaiian flag to celebrate his friendship with King George III. However, during the War of 1812, things got a little fucky-wucky, as they always tend to do during a war. So to appease both sides, Kamehameha designed this flag to resemble both sides, with the Union Jack planted in the corner and the stripes being pulled from the American flag. Except, I spy, with my motherfucking eye, some blue ignore my green screen, my blue stripes in this flag, Mr. Kamehameha, which the American flag does not have. Which means this flag is a colossal fucking failure. And as of this video, I formally declare the continental United States to be at war with Hawaii due to their wayward English support during the War of 1812. If you live in the continental United States, be sure to tell a Hawaiian to go fuck themselves, because they deserve it. And, I don't know, Alaska, you could watch or something. Don't worry about it. Alaska doesn't even have the internet yet anyway. Idaho, why the fuck are you so bumblingly stupid that you need to put State of Idaho on the flag twice? If your citizens already can't read, putting the name there twice isn't going to change anything. Fun fact, this is the only state seal drawn by a woman. And of course, leave it to a woman to do something that's totally cool and should make everyone proud. My female analytics are in the toilet, so help me out here, ladies, please. Illinois. Sometimes I get really concerned that someone's playing a prank on me. This has to be a high schooler submission for a flag designing contest, right? Okay, that's a little harsh. It's probably a middle schooler submission, because high schoolers at least have some concept of not making something that looks like shit. Maybe the next time you decide to snort a bunch of Xanax and make a collage out of clip art, try not to turn it in as the official state flag. Indiana. Holy shit, it's time for the Olympics, which is exactly what any and all people who see this flag will be thinking. This flag doesn't remind me of a state that was almost exclusively governed by the Ku Klux Klan in the 1920s, but instead gives me an urge to try to change the channel before I'm forced to watch someone try to convince me that curling isn't just advanced shuffleboard. Iowa. Well, according to this flag, the state of Iowa was initially founded by a World War II airborne division. Ignoring the fact that the base template is the French flag, which should make any American military officer hang his head in shame, but the layout of the text tells me that the Screaming Eagles didn't give much of a shit for appealing formatting and instead opted to create a new verse of the Pledge of Allegiance through brute force. Kansas. Ad astra per aspera is Latin for Kansas really loves throwing this fucking slogan onto everything, huh? You see one over-designed state seal and you've seen them all. The difference for Kansas is that they intentionally designed their seal to capture the history of Kansas. Funny how they totally forgot to include radical bigotry against all sorts of cultural, political, and religious groups. Oh wait, that's not historical, that's still happening. Kentucky. And fixed! Louisiana. For about 100 years, the Louisiana flag looked like this. But about a decade ago, a Louisiana 8th grader noticed that the mother pelican was missing the 3 drops of blood on her chest, so they added it back. The 3 drops of blood are a Christian symbol from way back in the 3rd century when Christian texts described the belief that the mother pelicans would kill their young as they grew older and then lament for 3 days until finally puncturing their own breast with their beak and reviving their children with their blood. So Louisiana, I have just one question. What the fuck? Maine. You'd normally think I was going to shit on this design for being another bland, boring, uninspired use of the state seal. But looking at the actual art for this seal, I can say with confidence that I liked it, because I happen to have read this particular part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and it was pretty good. Maryland. I want to tell you all a story. A long time ago, in a quaint little state just like Maryland, there lived a group of people. This group of people were all very diverse, with different skin colors, different beliefs, different hobbies, and enough differences to make each and every one of them unique. But they all happened to have one very simple thing in common. They loved drinking diarrhea. They'd drink diarrhea when they woke up in the morning. They'd chow down on some diarrhea with every meal, and they'd chug a cool glass of diarrhea just before bed every night. Their love for diarrhea was no secret either. They all proudly discussed with each other their favorite flavors of diarrhea, plastered pro-diarrhea propaganda along their street corners, and tried to include diarrhea in nearly every aspect of their lives. One day, a traveler arrived to this quiet little town, and was mortified by what he saw. "My goodness, that's disgusting," he cried, as he saw that each and every member of this community enjoyed drinking diarrhea all day and all night. Try as he might, the traveler couldn't convince the townsfolk that perhaps it wasn't the best idea to drink liquefied feces all day and all night. He couldn't persuade them to consider that there was a whole litany of other, more pleasant things to drink, and plenty of other hobbies and pastimes to immerse yourself in. And try as he may, the only answer the townsfolk would ever respond back with was this: "We all love diarrhea. Therefore, it must be the best option." You've probably figured this out by now, Maryland, but I'm talking about your state flag. There's a literal cult around this state flag, and despite how garish, mishmashed, and downright ugly it is, people absolutely love it. Remember that all-important flag survey from earlier? The Maryland flag finished 4th. People cannot get enough of this intentional eyesore, and you know what? I think I get it. I'm a fan of movies that are so bad they're good. I love songs that in terms of songwriting are absolute trash, and I've eaten at Burger King before. I get what it's like to enjoy something that isn't conventionally attractive. Oh, hey, that's why I have sex with your mom, too. The point is, while the Maryland flag is nauseating, overly designed, gaudy, vulgar, hideous, alarming, threatening, unsightly, unseemly, unappealing, and bad, it's grown on me. And I can see why you're so up your own ass about it. How about we agree that the reason Maryland's state flag is so great is because it's not Massachusetts? You really think I'm gonna give a fuck about your recycled state seal-based design after what Maryland just put me through? The Latin translates to, by the sword we seek peace, but peace only under liberty. In other words, if you don't give us peace and freedom, we'll fucking kill you and remove your right to exist. Shut the fuck up, Massachusetts, you paradoxical asshole. You had the hard task of following Maryland, and boy, did you fail. Michigan. The elk and moose on the flag of Michigan come from the Hudson Bay Company's coat of arms. Hudson Bay Company is a fur trading company from the 17th century. Key note in that sentence is the word is, because they're still around as a retail store owner and holdings company, which means for the last 111 years that Michigan has been using this flag, they've been giving free advertising. And that means I have to award them a 0 out of 10, because I know for a fact they haven't been paid for it. Minnesota. Initially, when I first saw this one, I thought it was a spaghetti plate that someone vomited on. And that statement right there is enough for me to assign this one a failing grade. Mississippi. I'm not too huge on the whole in God we trust thing since we're a country without an official state religion, but other than that, I quite like it. And I was this close to assigning them a really good score. Except, this flag was only put into place in 2021, which means it took them over 100 years to replace the old state flag, which looked like this. Oops, Mississippi's last again. Missouri. Oh no, the Netherlands are invading, and they brought with them another shitty fucking state seal. Salus populi suprema lex esto translates to, the health of the people should be supreme law. Is that why you currently have a major opioid crisis going on, Missouri? Montana. Fuck me, I'm so bored. In 1985, Montana even specified the font that has to be used on all the state flags. You wanna know what interesting and inspiring font they chose? Helvetica Bold. This is like the vanilla ice cream of state flags, except when I partake in vanilla ice cream, I feel happy and not just a sense of dread. Nebraska. What the fuck? Why does the train have no tracks? Is it just me or is equality before the law a call to incite violence? What the fuck is even this thing? Why is the steamboat so incredibly tiny if you factor for perspective? Who uses an anvil out in the middle of the snow? Congratulations, Nebraska. This is easily the worst one. At least Georgia got their shit together and made an attempt to change the flag into something new, and at least we all know what's wrong with Mississippi. This piss stain of an idea of a flag still in use today is probably the worst one I've ever seen. I wish every year all the states got together to give each other medals for cool things they did that year, and when Nebraska showed up, everyone just gave them a wedgie and kicked their ass while their poo-poo stained underwear blinded them into stumbling around like a drunk uncle. Fuck you, Nebraska. Fuck you for making me even look at this. Nevada. There's a trend that you guys have probably noticed by now I'm going to call attention to. 29 of the 50 state flags have a blue background. Nevada decided to go in on that fact and make 75% of their flag a blue background, which is fine. If you really want to keep things minimal and aesthetically pleasing, it's fine. This flag really isn't that bad. But isn't it kind of sad that this is easily in the top 10 because all the others are such dog shit? Congrats, Nevada. You're going to win a prize not based on your own merit, but because everyone else in this competition got food poisoning the night before and decided to come in with their C- material. New Hampshire. Well, at least the seal's appealing to look at. The flag still sucks. New Jersey. Horsehead. They couldn't even afford a whole horse. New Mexico. That is such a good flag. This is a downright spectacular flag. Not only does the color scheme appropriately evoke the desert landscape, but this symbol represents the sun for the Zia people of New Mexico. The Zia sun has a lot of sacred meaning to it. 4 is an important number in their culture. There's 4 sets of lines in this design, representing the 4 directions, 4 times of day, 4 stages of life, and 4 seasons. The circle in the middle is said to bind all of the concepts together. This flag is gorgeous because it understands one very simple, effective, and powerful design concept. Subtlety. We don't need a giant overbearing design to spell out each and every piece of symbolism to us. If you happen to know what the design stands for, then there's that much more for you to appreciate. But if you don't, you get to ask the question of, why this symbol? What does it all mean? Instead of being bombarded by explicit, boring garbage everywhere you dart your eyes. This flag handily was placed #1 on that big Flag Association survey that I keep bringing up, and I am not surprised in the slightest. Some of you out there are probably going to get a little pissy at me for awarding Best in Show to such a simple flag, but when the competition's been this bad, I can't give this first prize fast enough. That just put me in great spirits. I dare say I'm even more excited now to see the next one than I was this whole video. Let's keep this momentum going. Come on, New York. When I began this video, I had so much optimism. I really did. I thought there'd be a whole bunch of varied, interesting concepts of state flags, but to my design, about 80% of the United States of America are the most boring, bland motherfuckers when it comes to representing state pride in flag form. How hard is it to come up with a design that represents your state beyond the same exact symbols that every state used in the late 1800s? The excuse for most states here is, well, most of these state seals and coat of arms were made during the 1800s. Then stop using those fucking state seals and coat of arms, you decrepit octogenarians. Look, you can keep the state seal what it is, and you can keep the coat of arms, because they're traditional. But what's the point of designing a flag if it's just a copy of a design we already have on a blue fucking background? It's a waste of time and resources. It inspires no state pride whatsoever. And considering you really only see state flags out in the wild these days compared to state seals and coat of arms, it's something you'd think you'd want to update now and then to better represent your state instead of representing, I don't know what, the fact that we used to fucking drive steamboats everywhere. I'm fucking sick of steamboats. I'm sick of looking at this worthless flag before I even have to dissect it, but let's do it anyway. The guidelines for this coat of arms say that this is a Frisian cap on a staff, but we all know it's just a condom on a stick. Why is the eagle conquering the world? That'd be far more appropriate for the American flag, not the New York one. And finally, Stan Lee died back in 2018, guys. It's time to move on. North Carolina. I've got a bold idea for a flag. Texas, but shittier. I already made a joke that Florida copied Alabama, and I'm not even going to give you guys credit for being original in the plagiarism department. North Dakota. Normally I'd be offended by such laziness. You guys didn't even design a flag. You just looked at the back of the quarter and said, hey, cross out the words $quarter and put North Dakota. No one will ever know. And let me tell you something. The only time I want to be disappointed in a quarterback is when I go to my local dog shelter with Michael Vick. Ohio. Spectacular. And I'll tell you why. Because even though every human outside of Ohio has already stopped giving a shit about it, no one will forget this flag exists after they see it. See, it's not that hard, other states. Take the American flag, shuffle around the symbols, cut off the ends, and boom, you have a solid state flag. Yeah, your design isn't exactly interesting or unique or representative of Ohio in any way, but it's a non-rectangular shape. Oh boy. And in this competition that's starting to become about making your state look as uninteresting as possible, Ohio at least attempted to be different. Oklahoma. It's pretty good. The shield and calumet here are symbols of the Native Americans in that region, and the olive branch symbolizes peace when we all unify together. Initially, I thought the whole thing was just a symbol for how much they love smoking weed, but then I remembered, one, I'm probably a bit racist, and two, Oklahoma is far too poor to ever afford any. Oregon, visual diarrhea. Pennsylvania. I almost don't hate this one, because the crest design with the horses is actually pretty good looking, but then I looked at the inside and saw that it's all the same fucking monochrome symbols like farm tools, crops, colonial ships, and I'm just so tired of it all. Just be glad you didn't put a steamboat in there, because then the Pennsylvania governor would be receiving something very unpleasant in his mailbox tomorrow. I'd put some dog poop in there. What did you think I was going to do? FBI agent secretly assigned to monitor my YouTube channel? Rhode Island. I fucking love this one. Yeah, it's based on state seal, but they did something fucking mind-boggling. They made an actual design out of it, instead of just sloppily pounding it in there like your mother's butthole when I run out of Astroglide. This flag has given me the hope that I need that the rest of the entries in this series will pick out the slack for the first group, and inspire me to consider my next vacation plans very carefully. Thank you, Rhode Island, for hyping me up for this next flag. There is no way it could disappoint me. I almost wish this one was last, so I could have the same poetic impact that Wyoming did in the previous video. This is a gorgeous flag. You've done good, South Carolina. You've done good. South Dakota. Okay, everyone point and laugh at South Dakota for fucking it all up. You really gonna put your Mount Rushmore state on your flag, which, by the way, is the only thing anyone will ever know you for. And yeah, you're not gonna fucking have Mount Rushmore on the flag? Anywhere? Are you insane? Tennessee. There we go. There we go. This is a good one. At first, I kind of hated the little weird stripe on the end there, but then I realized that the blue stripe is the part fluttering most in the wind, opposite of the flagpole, which gives this design a great use of movement and energy with just color work. I have nothing to roast here, Tennessee. I mean, the iconography and the colors are lifted straight from the American flag, but I'm just proud they pulled their collective brain cell together to get it together long enough to make a flag that isn't complete shit. Texas. Okay, now we're taking the American flag reductionism to a little bit of an extreme. This flag looks like it's the American flag's sidekick, or its little brother that hopes to grow up to be one day. And the funny thing is, that's exactly what I think of when I think of Texas. This is a great flag, regardless of the blatant American dick ridery. Just be careful to not become Chile, since then you'll be caricatured into a gun-toting yeehaw viewpoint, which would force you to publicly lynch the entire state if that ever happened. Utah, I'm just gonna say it. You may be excellent at road signs, but you genuinely suck at making flags. You suck at it so hard, I'm not showing the flag yet, for emphasis. Utah is in this weird stasis where they started out strong, and they could potentially wind up with a great flag today if new legislation passes. But every other flag they've had along the way is an absolute abomination. Here's the flag from before Utah was a state as a starting point. And this flag pretty much kicks ass. Probably cost them like $400 to make a single flag back in the late 1800s, thanks to how complex this thing is. But it's a lovely picture. And here's the flag Utah designed to commemorate their 125 years of statehood. Currently, they're trying to pass a law to make this the official state flag. It also is a great flag in general. It's got a stylized iconography that represents the state, and it's a really appealing look. Now let's flush all that goodwill down the toilet and look at whatever the fuck this is. Welcome to Utah's flag for the last 100 years, featuring the vomit-inducing Utah state crest. This flag surgically takes the charm out of the original home-style beehive designs and anally eviscerates them by plastering a dickload of generic patriotic junk on top. Not just one, but two dates, and you don't even get a total understanding of the second one for some goddamn reason. Good job writing industry on there instead of, oh, I don't know, coming up with literally any kind of visual metaphor to represent that concept. Because that's what a fucking flag is for. But I'm not being fair. I'm cheating a little bit here, and I'm sure every citizen of Utah watching this video is yelling at the top of their lungs so I can hear them through the gas mask that they're forced to wear so they can breathe outside. This flag was actually retired back in 2011. Here's the current flag. Jesus fucking Christ. Vermont. Deer head. Oh, they can afford the whole deer. There's just not enough people around who aren't buying one. Virginia. I appreciate the liberal use of flashing a little titty, but the only thing this flag is arousing in me is a violent urge to throttle whoever likes seeing nothing but state seals everywhere you go. Points for depicting your favorite scene from a Shakespeare play instead of another fucking buffalo or bundle of wheat, but I in good consciousness can't give any points to a flag that's this cool by circumstance instead of intentional design. If you take a blue background and slap your state seal on it, I'm gonna slap my nuts in your mouth, no matter how cool your seal is. No exceptions. Washington. Yeah, that's Washington, all right. And the background's green this time. And it's also a state seal. So 0 points. Suck my nuts, Washington. West Virginia. I think everyone's going to agree with me when I say I think it's about time you guys finally dissolved and crawled back into Virginia's gooch. Wisconsin. I just want to make this clear. You're not promoting or successfully boasting about yourself in any possible fashion with these symbols if they're the symbols that everyone else uses. This plow no longer means jack shit to me in my mind because after the 37th state flag to show me one, I'm just going to assume, oh, I don't know, we've got farming in America. Wow. At least Wisconsin attempts a bold move by trying to claim Thanksgiving and a scam carnival game for themselves, but honestly, you guys can have them. You need something to make yourself feel better after one too many pints at your local microbrewery down the street from the other microbrewery that's just a 10-minute Uber ride away from your friend's house where you usually enjoy a cold one. Wyoming. Don't let me down, Wyoming. You blew me away before with your incredible welcome sign. You guys have to have a really great state flag. Let's see it. Well, hang on. Better.
Each totem on the pole is a symbol.
Those bullies won't bother me now.
Hello! As Harry Potter, my life is great and enviable, but let me tell you, it ain't all a big goblet of pumpkin juice. I have seen some shit. I've been orphaned, ostracized, abused, and attacked. I have mental scars. So while I may be handsome and successful in my day life, it is at night that I can't escape from the terrible images that bounce around in the dark cavern that is my tortured noggin. Like this one time, I had a horrible nightmare. So I was just hanging out, being awesome, when Snape showed up, and he was all like, "Mr. Potter, you're flunking potions class. What are your college plans?" But he just kept getting angrier and angrier and angrier. Finally, he flipped out and he tried to kill me with a hammer. Another time, I dreamt that I was dancing. It was beautiful. I was so great. But then Voldemort showed up, and he started to upstage me. He did moves I'd never seen before, and all the girls were like, "Ooh, he's so cool." So I tried to bust a sweet move in retaliation, but suddenly my feet couldn't move. It sucked. Another nightmare I had, I was pregnant, and I went into labor, and I gave birth to Ron, and I had to raise him from infancy, clothe him, feed him, but then I misplaced him, and this was terrifying, because it meant I had failed as a parent. Oh, and one time, I dreamt that Hermione was addicted to amphetamines. She kept digging through my stuff trying to find things to hawk. So Ron and I held an intervention, but Hermione flipped out and tried to kill us with a hammer. And another time, I dreamt that I was middle-aged. Yuck! But the worst nightmare I ever had, I was at Hogwarts, and I saw Dumbledore. He looked so decrepit and ghastly. He kept telling me that I wasn't Harry Potter, and I was like, "Of course I'm Harry Potter, Dumbledore." But he just looked at me through those unfathomable eyes, and he told me that I was a patient in a psychiatric hospital, and that my mind had constructed this fantasy universe of magic, all in order to escape the guilt of having watched my wife die. That sure was a spooky dream. Anyway, what are some of your worst wizarding nightmares? Leave me a comment or a video response, and remember to subscribe!
Okay, Harry, we will do those things you just told us to do.
Subscribe to what?
Shh!
Oh my god, look what I found! Is that a book?
I know a thing or two about books, and that's a book.
It's not just any book, guys. Is it a young adult vampire romance novel? Anyway, I just happened to find this book in Snape's bedroom in a locked trunk under his bed. It's his diary. Wow, shall we read it? I've got a better idea. Let's read it!
Oh, what a fascinating character study this will be.
Okay, this is the first entry. Dear Diary.
Today I ate some oatmeal for my breakfast. It was flavorless and watery. I thought of my mother. I cried.
I'm hungry. What else is new, fatty? Let's get to the good stuff.
Today I put on my raincoat and traveled to Nocturne Alley. I purchased a pair of fancy mice. When I brought them home, one devoured the other and then died of loneliness. I felt envy.
This is hilarious.
Oh, look, Harry, I see your name.
Oh, you're good at reading, Hermione.
What?
Today that Potter boy showed me his middle finger. When I attempted to punish him with detention, he shoved me into a wall, screaming, "Bother, bother," over and over. Later, he and his orange friend repeated the violent act until I lost consciousness. Tonight I prayed for the first time in 20 years. I prayed for the end.
I remember that, Ron. Give me 5.
You already took my money, Harry.
Never mind.
I lost a button on my cloak today. Minerva pointed it out in front of the entire faculty. Oh, cruel attention. Button, oh, where hast thou fled? Did thee tarry too long amongst fabric and thread? Did thee roll off my bosom and cease to exist? How I wish I could follow thee into the mist.
What is a bosom, Harry?
Yeah, tell him, Harry.
Oh, look, another page.
Today, while in the bathtub,
Ew!
I fell asleep and had a nightmare. I was riding a thestral through a thunderstorm. Every thunderclap resolved into their voices. Bother, bother. Suddenly, it became music. I was at the Yule Ball with Lily Evans. I asked her to dance. She asked me to die. Would that I could, Lily. Would that I could.
My mom was awesome.
When I awoke, my skin was prune-like from the tepid bathwater, and I was late for golf with Lucius Malfoy.
I like prunes.
Did somebody say prunes?
I said prunes. How did he know?
What are you monkeys up to? Studying for class?
No, we're invading Professor Snape's privacy by reading his personal diary, which we stole from his room.
But you don't have any prunes, do you?
I'm afraid not.
I'm very disappointed in you, Harry.
Okay, back to the stinky book.
Today, the orange one accidentally drank one of my more expensive elixirs. He promptly vomited a glittering rainbow of foul waste, and the classroom erupted with applause, triggering my migraine. I aborted the class and was left to clean the boys sick. Halfway through, Argus Filch showed up and bragged about his many affairs with Hogsmeade barmaids. Then he told me I smelled of broccoli and left without wishing me a happy birthday. I thought of my father. I cried.
This got boring. Let's write a new entry.
That's a really fun idea.
Here's one of the quills I carry with me at all times.
Okay. I am Snape. I'm so sad because I poop my pants all the time. I don't have any friends because I stink like broccoli and poop. I teach potion to Harry Potter, and it's really boring because he's so cool, and it makes me have depression. Okay, I think I'll go cry now, but not before I poop my pants. Bye.
Can I try?
Be my guest.
I am S.
Okay, Ron, that was a good try.
Somebody knocked me unconscious and ransacked my room. Wait a minute, that book! What are you doing?
Snape! Ron stole your diary!
What? You didn't read it, did you?
Oh, he read it all right. He read it all.
This is unacceptable.
I liked the story about the button, Snape.
You did?
It made me sad. Thinking about that little button, lost and alone. I hope you find your button, Snape.
So do I, Orange One. So do I.
I like buttons.
I'm Harry Potter. School is for losers. I'm totally awesome.
Mr. Potter, you've been absent from potions class for over 3 weeks, and I have no choice but to nominate Harry Potter for an understanding.
George Washington didn't actually wear dentures made of wood as most people believe. His dentures were made of ivory, bone, human teeth, and animal teeth, and they were said to be strong enough to crush other teeth. John Adams initially wanted the President of the United States to be called His Highness, Protector of Their Liberties. This was shot down because most senators and representatives thought the title was too grandiose, and a wimpy, unimposing man like John Adams wouldn't suitably fit such a title. Thomas Jefferson offered to sell his own personal library to the Library of Congress after they had theirs burned down by the British during the War of 1812. Only about 97% of Jefferson's books were purchased, as the remaining 3 were too offensively pornographic for preservation. James Madison was less than 5 feet tall and weighed less than 100 pounds. Somehow, he set the all-time bench press record of any president that has been in office at 400 pounds unassisted. James Monroe was the first president to run unopposed, and won the election without even having to campaign. His political opponents all dropped out before the race began, claiming that guy just smells really, really weird. John Quincy Adams loved to skinny dip, and one morning his clothes were confiscated by a reporter who only gave them back after he agreed to do an interview. The reporter noted in his article, "President Quincy Adams is hung like a horse and tastes like a stallion." Andrew Jackson once killed a man in a duel, and swore until his deathbed that the man in question was actually him time-traveling from the future. He was quoted on his deathbed as saying, "Don't go to Disneyland on April 10th, 2030. Some real bad shit is gonna happen." Martin Van Buren was the first president to be born in America. Historians are still perplexed to this day how he didn't end up morbidly obese. William Henry Harrison gave a nearly 2-hour-long inauguration speech during a snowstorm, which caused him to develop pneumonia, resulting in his death only a month after taking up role as the president. No one particularly cared. John Tyler had the nickname Baby Cake's Tie Boy because of his particularly effeminate looks and demeanor. It's up for debate on whether or not he sold sexual favors for money, but his presidential addresses were often flirtatious and a little too suspiciously gay. James K. Polk oversaw building the Washington Monument. At first, he called it the greatest achievement of his term, but grew a strong distaste for it after continually explaining to everyone that it wasn't meant to symbolize Washington's penis. Zachary Taylor owned a horse named Old Whitey, who was even more famous than he was for its service in the Mexican-American War. Tourists of the White House were often confused if Old Whitey referred to the horse or President Taylor. Millard Fillmore was an avid pervert, having married his former schoolteacher, and shown up to State of the Union addresses occasionally adorning a custom-made fursuit. Fillmore claimed he had a different fursuit for every occasion, but sources say that no man in America during that time could possibly have that much money. Not even the president. Franklin Pierce had a severe addiction to Pringles canned potato crisps. While suffering physical withdrawal during a gala at the White House, Pierce screamed across the ballroom, "Once you pop, the fun don't stop," before vomiting on several dancers. James Buchanan was the only unmarried president. Although he was engaged in his youth, Buchanan called it off after he finally saved up enough money to buy a PlayStation. He regularly mentioned never regretting this decision. Abraham Lincoln doesn't have much written about him in history books, but historians proclaim he may or may not have been the president at one point, and was likely seen in public wearing a hat. Andrew Johnson actually wasn't a human being, but was a dog trained to bark whenever someone said the word president. Most people haven't looked closely enough at the facts to notice this. Ulysses S. Grant's middle initial stands for, so whenever people would ask him what the S in his name stood for, he would reply, "Exactly." Rutherford B. Hayes was the first president to have a telephone in the White House. Hayes himself wasn't aware of this fact, leading to many disappointed telemarketers. James A. Garfield proposed he would personally pimp slap anyone who named a fat orange cat after him. Jim Davis has snipers planted around his home 24/7 in case anyone ever figures out how to resurrect the dead. Chester A. Arthur remodeled the entire White House and sold 24 wagon loads of presidential memorabilia to pay for it, including a pair of Lincoln's pants, one of John Quincy Adams' hats, and John Tyler's highest RPM dildo. Grover Cleveland was the only president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms. Benjamin Harrison was the first president to hire a female staff member, a move we're still feeling the horrifying repercussions of today. Grover Cleveland was the only president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms. William McKinley Stair was rumored to be able to kill a person at 100 yards, a claim McKinley himself regularly boasted about. McKinley also had an intense love for his wife, as spectators often noted he could never take his eyes off her. Theodore Roosevelt had more testosterone in his left testicle than any other president combined, because all of their testosterone was stored in Roosevelt's right testicle. William Howard Taft was fat and old and probably sucked a lot of dick. Woodrow Wilson's favorite pastime was sitting in silence. One of his presidential aides once sneezed while monitoring him, and Wilson yelled at him because he feared having a heart attack from being overstimulated. Warren G. Harding's favorite noise was this. His second favorite noise was ocean waves. Calvin Coolidge usually went by his middle name, Calvin, in public. His full legal name was Calvin Calvidge Coolvinage Coolidge. Herbert Hoover really sucked as a president, thanks to his power vortex suction and wind tunnel allergen block technology. He also really fucked up handling the Great Depression. Franklin D. Roosevelt faked having polio so people would make him the president out of pity and push his wheelchair around everywhere. When his wife had to change out his fecal matter collection bag, he would often mutter, "Yeah, that's right. Play with my shit, you whore." Harry S. Truman was actually clean-shaven from head to toe, and wore an extensive collection of wigs and fake glued-on body hair for all public appearances. When asked how he handled that while being president, he only ever replied, "I'm so very cold." Dwight D. Eisenhower was a 5-star general for his service in both World Wars, and was quickly promoted to 500-star general once he became president. Eisenhower's only regret in life was not placing in the top 100 player rankings for Rocket League, because that would have earned him his 5 million-star general promotion. John F. Kennedy loved parades, and tried to attend every one he could. He often would call his favorite parades absolutely mind-blowing. Lyndon B. Johnson DJ'd by the name of Dr. L.B. Respect. His shows were immensely unpopular, and he only made about $70 in ticket sales. Richard Nixon once sweated so hard during an interview that he collapsed from dehydration. On that same day, an entire wall of the White House needed to be rebuilt from the Kool-Aid Man rushing to the president's rescue. Gerald Ford can't spell his own name, and often signs documents as Rickleton D. Pickleton. Nobody has ever been able to identify where President Ford thought of this name, and when asked, he just replies, "Don't you recognize me? It's me, Rickleton." Jimmy Carter often retreats into his pants like a sleeping bag when threatened or surprised. During a televised debate, Carter once hit himself in response to a car alarm going off, and it took the moderator 20 minutes to convince him it was okay to come out. Ronald Reagan doesn't even remember being president, because he's dead. George Bush Sr. still thinks the sun revolves around the Earth, and plans to visit the sun in 2040 to prove his theory right. Accompanying him will be his dog, Mr. Magic Brush, and a bag of candy corn labeled emergency rations. Bill Clinton once fucked an intern in the Oval Office, and for some stupid reason people got all mad about it. Once all was said and done, everyone had a big laugh, and anyone who got grumpy that a dude plowed a chick at work remembered they have better shit to do. George W. Bush begged his dad to go with him on his mission to the sun, but George Bush Sr. famously replied, "You're the sun I have here on Earth, but the sun up in space is still mine for the taking." Barack Obama is black. No, I'm serious. It's true. Look it up. Donald Trump starred in numerous movies, including Home Alone 2, Zoolander, The Avengers: Infinity War, and Disney and Pixar's Anal Disaster. And finally, as of this video, Joe Biden hasn't served as president long enough to determine whether he's actually real, or just an elaborate hologram programmed to pacify the American people, while the rest of the government desperately scramble to find the real president. 57-year-old Walter McIntosh of Fuller's Earth, Arizona. If you're watching this, Walter, it's time to come into work.
stairs. Down the stairs. Bell, knocker, hand. Bell. 1, 2, 3. Reset. Pizza, pizza. Pizza, pizza. Pizza, pizza. Keep them steady. Go, go, go. Bell, knocker, hand. Bell, knocker, hand. Pizza, pizza.
Little Caesars introduces delivery. Now get 2 top-of-the-line Little Caesars Pleasers delivered.
Pizza, pizza.
Boing, 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 boing.
Chocolate make the world go round.
I have very fat arms.
Yeah.
Are you a lazy piece of build a discipline and stay productive?
That's ironic coming from you. Talk about unproductive. Look how many times you respond to hate comments. And guess what, audience? It's all to defend content like this.
I may be 5 foot, but that's because God put that extra 12 inches somewhere else.
Alright people, what's up? The creepiest kids animation YouTuber has responded. Now audience, the subject of today's video is once again Shappy Sway. The kids animation YouTuber that styles their content in the same art style as Bluey has recently responded to the haters and they're not happy at all. No, like seriously, this dude has been making post after post after post after post after post after post defending his freaky and weird ass animations, thinking that it's pretty okay to have on the platform. Anyways, before we begin, I'm going to showcase a few clips of Shappy Sway so that you can get an understanding of what exactly we're talking about whenever we refer to freaky content.
Your turn, Crappy.
born to finger A minor.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking bad. Anyways, because these videos are on YouTube.com getting plenty of views, people like myself, Beto, Keyboy, Glider Guy, and Gween, it's fucking Ben, everybody has been making videos and commentating about this guy's freaky content. And in which us talking about this topic, we have basically inflated this dude's view count. And basically, this guy's content has been really hitting the algorithm as of recently. Now, the main problem that everybody has with this guy's content, it is very obviously an art style that looks like it is meant for children. However, the content within these videos are not very childlike at all. In fact, I think all of us would argue that it is the very opposite of child's content. And this has been the main point that everybody has been making. If you're an onlooking 10-year-old kid on YouTube Shorts and you were to come across this type of content, chances are you would also think that this content is childlike. If you strip away the legend that encrusts this channel with the sexual jokes and yada yada yada, if you look at this art style, you would know that it is probably meant for children. And because of this problem, there is a lot of children that are on YouTube Shorts and they have encountered this guy's YouTube channel and, well, being exposed to very inappropriate content. That is pretty much the consensus of every single commentary YouTuber that has talked about this topic. And I don't know about you guys, but that is a pretty fucking good argument. However, as of recently, Shappy Sway has been making a multitude of responses across the internet, and we're going to be tackling all of his points one by one and pretty much just dismantling this guy's whole career. Just kidding, it's not that big of an expose, but it is pretty funny. Let's begin. Anyways, to begin this absolute dumpster fire, Shappy Sway has posted on his community tab, basically being a very passive-aggressive little shit about everybody that has been making videos about him. Basically referring to me, Glider Guy, and Gween, MK, Beto, Keyboy, etc. Because according to us, we make very misinformed videos. Shappy throws shade at us by saying, "We'd like to formally thank the ongoing misinformation campaign. Turns out nothing drives traffic like confident ignorance. Yes, we use chibi style. Yes, it's still adult content. Shocking, we know. Cute art doesn't magically make the joke suitable for your toddler. We're tagged 18 plus for a reason. But if reading comprehension isn't your thing, we get it. Words are hard, so by all means keep ranting. You're doing a phenomenal job making us go viral. Bless your bold, misinformed energy. We literally couldn't do it without you." So yeah, basically this guy is like the Wojak where they're hiding behind the mask and they're actually crying. Okay, but in all seriousness, we have a lot to unpack just from this post, where he says, yes, we use chibi style, and yes, it is still adult content. Bro is entirely missing the point. Whenever there's 5-year-old children scrolling on YouTube Shorts and they just so happen to come across your content, the chibi and cute art style that you're referring to is especially attractive to younger audiences. Chances are the people that are watching your videos that are 10 years old and up probably know that this is adult content because, you know, their brain has developed enough to understand adult jokes. However, whenever your skeletal system is still made of fucking cartilage, you're not exactly gonna be old enough to quite understand the difference between child content and adult content. Little 5-year-old Timmy's just gonna keep watching the videos pretending like nothing is wrong. And that's the main fucking problem. If a bunch of 5-year-old children that don't really know what they're watching is in fact watching adult content, that's not gonna be very good for the child, now is it? You purposefully use a chibi art style that is attractive to children. However, to the onlooking 5-year-olds that can't tell between adult and child content, they're gonna be consuming shit that they simply should not actually be seeing. You missed the entire point. Anyways, his next point is we're tagged 18 plus for a reason. Fun fact, ladies and gentlemen, no, they are not in fact tagged 18 plus on YouTube. However, they do have their Instagram as 18 plus content. However, on platforms like Twitter and YouTube, you can still view their content perfectly fine. And also, it's a little odd that you're branding your content as 18 plus, but you're still using hashtags like Disney in your videos. As you know, ladies and gentlemen, the main audience of Disney's films is fucking children. So, I don't know why you're using children's hashtags in your post, buddy. Thought your shit was 18 plus, just a thought. And also, even if you categorize your videos as no, it's not made for kids, children can in fact still watch your videos. There's a difference between categorizing your videos as no, it's not made for children and actually age restricting your videos. As for my YouTube channel, neither do I categorize my videos as for children, because if I did categorize my videos as made for children, my content would be on YouTube Kids, which is obviously not the platform that I'm trying to make money on. But no, categorizing your videos as not made for kids is in fact not going to make children not watch your videos. And the real reason why you don't want to actually age restrict your video, Shappy Sway, is because it would absolutely kill the reach that your videos would make on YouTube. So no, your shit is not categorized as 18 plus for a reason. As for YouTube.com, your shit can still be seen by absolutely everybody. Once again, not misinformation, you're just fucking stupid. Anyway, Shappy made another community post trying to clear his name. He says, in case it was not clear enough, here is ChatGPT telling you that we have been saying the same thing for years. And this motherfucker provided a ChatGPT prompt to try and clear his name. Holy shit, imagine having nobody to defend you, that you had to convince the fucking AI to defend you. Listen, man, I love ChatGPT. It's a great tool. But come on, dude, this shit is not your fucking lawyer. Oh yeah, another thing he did was he changed his YouTube bio. Originally, his YouTube bio said, spreading joy, conquering obstacles, and uplifting minds. I'm Shappy, your 2D embodiment of fun and resilience. And recently, he updated it by adding an absolute bombshell into his bio. He added, and I quote, for grown-ups. Wow, great fucking job, Shappy. I'm sure that just deviated all the children away from your content. Surely the onlooking 5-year-old is gonna see your YouTube bio and see that it's for grown-ups and realize that they shouldn't watch your videos anymore. Instead of, you know, being a man of your word and just age restricting your channel, let's just put those two fucking words on screen and think it's gonna get rid of all criticism. Fucking idiot. And then finally, Shappy on the community tab is now flexing to the haters, showing how many views his YouTube channel got. I guess he thought that was his big 1-2 you to everybody. Don't worry, Shappy, I get a lot more views than you do. Anyways, that about sums up everything that Shappy Sway has posted on his community tab. However, aside from his community tab, he's actually responding to a certain YouTuber's video. Another person that is in my genre that goes by the name Glider Guy posted a video about Shappy Sway, and he responded with a multitude of comments. By the way, even if misleading, I love this video. You did an awesome job. Dude, this guy is so fucking passive-aggressive. I'm sure that I don't have to explain how the videos made about this guy is not misleading. This guy is just a fucking idiot. Anyways, thanks for the mention, ha ha ha. We won't even report this. It's actually funny and misleading. Have a nice day, heart emoji. Yeah, no, you can genuinely tell this guy is getting pissed off. Casually throwing around the idea that you thought about reporting the video is fucking insane. You are one sensitive ass. The art style comes from Happy Tree Friends, which is an adult show. It's an animation style which does not belong to any range of age except the content marked by what you make. Well, isn't that just great, Shappy Sway? At least Happy Tree Friends labels their content as adult content. Maybe you should take more inspiration and just age restrict your channel, which in our case is 18 plus everywhere. No, it isn't, dude. Start age restricting your fucking channel then. This style exists for decades and has been in multiple adult shows. You guys are not so properly informed. Yeah, okay, you fucking nerd. At least all of these professional TV shows and shit like that would at least categorize their videos properly. Maybe if you actually categorized your videos as 18 plus on YouTube, this wouldn't be a problem. Funny for clickbait you say mainly for kids when it never has been. Listen, Shappy, I understand that your intention of the channel is not to be for children, but you can't deny the fact that you don't age restrict your videos to where children can't access the content. Doing this, little bro, is not the only everything you have to do to make children not see your videos. Our biography is a joke itself. Well, it must not be much of a joke if you're now using your YouTube bio to shield yourself from criticism. Motherfucker added 4 grown-ups thinking that's gonna shield him from everything. Maybe you should absolutely inform yourself more before doing stuff like this. But hey, good for you getting lots of views on this misleading stuff. Once again, you're a pissed off Wojak. We are tagged 18 plus everywhere. Dude, no you're not. We don't target young audiences, as well as we don't babysit neglectful parents that don't unsee the apps properly and restrict by age or content. But you know what they say, let them talk. Ha 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 ha. Once again, dude, you can still take matters into your own hands. You can quit the fucking Joker arc and just take responsibility. Anyways, audience, what do you think? Should I subscribe to their OnlyFans next and see what's behind it? I'll do it for 20,000 likes. Anyways, with that being said, I'll catch you guys later.